Welcome back to Cityscape. In this episode of Secret People, we will cover Jacque Fresco, an American futurist, industrial designer, and social engineer. Nowadays, politics has become the main topic of discussion for the masses. Most people think in binary terms, i.e. Democrat or Republican. A smaller few think of independent parties like Libertarian. Regardless of what camp you personally belong to, party politics are still part of the system. They are all paradigms where society is governed by politicians. Our guest in this episode argues that there are other ways to live. Society does not need politicians or bureaucratic agencies to look out for the people. In fact, Jacque Fresco describes a future with no bankers, no lawyers, no politicians, and no money. Is this a utopian dream, or does Jacque Fresco have tangible proof to demonstrate such paradigm? As always, let's start with a brief background. Jacque Fresco was born on March 13, 1916 in Brooklyn, New York. He was born in a Jewish household, with his father working as an agriculturist. At the age of 14, Jacque dropped out of school and left home to travel. As a teenager, he witnessed the abject poverty Americans suffered during the Great Depression. This experience would have a profound effect on him. Although a high school dropout, Jacque taught himself numerous disciplines and spent most of his life working as an industrial designer. He worked for the Douglas Aircraft Company, the U.S. Army during World War II, and was a technical consultant for several impressive projects. Despite his technical brilliance, much of Fresco's professional career did not end well, due to his disagreement in what he perceived as greed or overly bureaucratic management. In 1980, Jacque acquired 21 acres of land in rural Florida to pursue his goal of creating a resource-based economy. Jacque and his life partner Roxanne Meadows supported the project by offering $200 tours of the compound and by selling books. This project, along with its social philosophy, is what we will take a look at today. The Venus Project is both an organization and a location. As already mentioned, it was founded by Jacque Fresco and his partner Roxanne Meadows. The aim of this project is to show people a different way to live, as well as research futuristic architectural design and energy conservation methods. This self-sustaining community depicts what Jacque calls a resource-based economy. But what does that mean? A resource-based economy is a society where all goods and services are available to people without any means of exchange. In other words, there is no money, credit, barter, or anything of this sort. All resources are declared as the common heritage of all people. The management of such resource is done using scientific and technical methods. Jacque Fresco was featured in a Larry King show in 1974 to discuss such society. Here's a snippet of his explanation.
All right, Jacque.
This represents a variation of the circular scheme. Most of the cities are based on natural configurations, the atomic structure, basic designs in nature. The center of the city might be related to studies of the human organism. This center here may be studies of diseases of the eye, other systems, diseases of the nervous system. An all-out research project on enhancing the lives of men. There are no military programs or projects in socio-cyberneering.
There's no need for an army?
No need for an army.
Now, what if one people decides to attack another people?
We then invite, after the first city is built, we tend to go Socio-Cyberneering International, to invite the participation of all nations of the world into a system of monitoring the Earth and using the Earth to enhance the lives of men.
What about what if one group of people get together and attack another group of people?
We believe that is done due to scarcity, or that a society suffers from economic deprivation, lack of arable land area, or overpopulation.
No, you believe it would not occur?
It would not occur. This is part of the linear acceleration train that can take you anywhere in the world in just a few hours, safely, without snow, rain, being lost at sea, subject to the weather.
Are all these things you're saying, Jacque, could they be built with what we know today, or are some of these things, are you guessing based on what we know today?
No. All of these things can be built with what we know today. It would take 10 years to change the surface of the earth, to rebuild the world into a second Garden of Eden. The choice lies with you. The stupidity of a nuclear arms race, the development of weapons, trying to solve your problems politically by electing this political party or that political party, that all politics is immersed in corruption. Let me say it again. Communism, socialism, fascism, the Democrats, the liberals, we want to absorb human beings. Women's lib, all organizations that believe in a better life for man. There are no Negro problems or Polish problems or Jewish problems or Greek problems or women's problems. They're human problems. To come into socio-cyberneering and take your part and function. We are not concerned with the divisions of segments of society.
It will be so hard to change, you know, a lot of these things sound fascinating, but in order to accomplish any of this, you require, to me, a change of the human.
The human value system.
Yeah.
We feel that if enough human beings are exposed to socio-cyberneering through information, and they question things about human behavior, the new schools, I'd be happy to describe all things. We don't have enough time now to go into that. But it doesn't take very long for Americans to change. Americans have been conditioned in their kind of society to get a different kind of car next year, to buy a new television set or a tape recorder. We are radical as hell, but our political and social institutions have not changed. And this is where we are stagnating, because we always equate any new idea with communism or regimentation, because we've been brought up to fear that which is new. And I think that Christ was a radical. He brought new ideas, but it took time, thousands of years, for people to really appreciate ideas.
They still haven't bought them.
Exactly.
What's this giant foot?
What looks like a giant foot is really a wind tunnel in a vertical position. We feel by building 6 of these in the Los Angeles area and the New York area and accelerating air down through this tunnel by means of turbines and electrostatic filters and a low temperature base, we can clean the air of the solids, particulate matter, gases, and all suspended particles within a period of 1 year, clean the air in the Los Angeles and New York area, and then remove these structures and build garden cities again. Let's not wait for nature to do it. We loused it up. We're going to have to clean it up like the war program.
Why don't they?
There, as far as I know, at present, there is really no integrated transportation system. Integrating a transportation system, you have to design, it's just like designing a heart of a human being, if God did it this way, and then he decided to put some lungs nearby, and then he built another structure to hold our arms. All of these are afterthoughts. What we have to do is design a city as a living system, as an organism, as a university, that all of the cities of the future will be university cities that grow, that continue to exchange ideas. The city will have a built-in transportation system, so there are no accidents and no unthought out areas of technology. Medicine, botany, agriculture, the total system, one planning system. Our cities have been designed a long time ago. The area like Miami, downtown Miami, they put in a couple of pots and a couple of trees, and this kind of simulating an intelligent approach to an environment which costs thousands of dollars, and these little intrusions on Flagler Street only cause the buses and the fire engines and the emergency vehicles to become further tied up. There are no solutions. They're clumsy, academic approaches by people immersed in this kind of society, coming up with their cop-out solutions that have no relationship to the problems. You cannot be a conventional architect, a conventional engineer, work for the telephone company or any other of the old establishment and come up with an idea that is a radical innovation. The space program takes new thinking to save our country, to save our land, to save our environment, to save our youth, our stupidity, our conflict. We've got to reorganize our way of thinking and reconsider our social aims toward the brotherhood of man. We do that or we perish.
Despite his appearance on a Larry King show, the Venus Project did not widely spread. It wasn't until the founder of the Zeitgeist documentary, Peter Joseph, collaborated with Jacque Fresco that the project really began to receive attention. The Venus Project was featured on Zeitgeist Addendum, and the idea received a second breath of life. I recommend all my viewers to watch the full Larry King interview of Jacque Fresco, as well as the 2 Zeitgeist documentaries. This will give you a full picture of everything that's going on. Links are in the description. Now, what do I think of the Venus Project? Well, I certainly find it more humanitarian than the demi-barbaric system we have today. However, I have two issues with this concept. First, it is too centrally planned for my taste. Central control by a technical elite is not any better to me than central control by politicians. I prefer a more decentralized system. Second, and this one is critical, the economic foundation of the Venus Project is really lacking. Removing the price mechanism in a society is like piloting a plane with no analytics. Price communicates a vast array of information that no human or machine can substitute. It is through the price mechanism that countless calculus such as resource availability, labor and transportation costs, and most importantly, subjective demand, is communicated to the entrepreneur. Without money, we have no tools for such calculus, hence therefore flying blind. The Venus Project is actually available for you to see. Tours do come at a cost, but it's totally worth it. It's important to stimulate your mind by exposing yourself to different patterns of living. Those of you who want to visit the Venus Project can save this location on a Cityscape app. Many people today think we are civilized, but they are seriously mistaken. I've said this before, but humans of the future will have a morality far superior than our own. They will truly scratch their head at many of the behaviors we consider normal today. We will not reach the stage of evolution through a quantum leap, however, but through individual enlightenment, happening one at a time. Jacque Fresco was certainly ahead of his time by at least 200 years, and his engineering and design concepts are breathtaking. However, I disagree with his perception of money. We already live in a resource-based economy. Resource availability is one of the many information price communicates. Our problem is not money, but the hijacking of our money. See my episode on cryptocurrency for more on the subject. Although I don't agree with the Venus Project's disregard of money, I am all for experimentation. This country is in a state of crisis. Now is the time to experiment with new societal patterns of living. The biggest lesson I have learned from Jacque Fresco is that it is indeed possible to create a new society to demonstrate different ways of living to others. The community doesn't have to be large. It can be a company town or city. I certainly would like to create my own small city someday. A community where I can test different methods of organizing society, as well as provide options to those who want to live in a different system. I sincerely believe that humans of the future will not have government, just zones of collective agreement. In the meantime, we can help reach this evolutionary stage by improving ourselves and building technology to help others. During my naive youthful days, Jacque Fresco was my hero. He's actually one of the few that inspired me to become an engineer. The Venus Project may or may not succeed, but regardless of what happens, this new frame of mind has been seeded in countless minds. The question is, what are you gonna do about it? See you next time.